Fantasy.
Hi, I am your host, Doc Rotten, and this is Gruesome Magazine, where we review the very latest in streaming and video on-demand horror movies. Each week, my co-host Jeff Mohr, Crystal Cleveland, Dave Dreher, and I will take a look at very spooky, scary, and gory genre offerings. This week, we are doing one with a very interesting title, Dead Dicks. It's not what you're thinking. It's not what you're thinking. YouTube, it's okay. This isn't
Private Eyes, but it's not even that.
Hey,
no, it's not that. It actually is about dead dicks. I mean, it's an accurate title.
Yep, and you know, in the 70s it was Tricky Dick. Now it's Dead Dicks. All right. Joining me tonight is the one and only Jeff Mohr. Jeff, how you doing?
I'm doing great. And just because you're telling YouTube, don't worry, that doesn't mean there aren't body parts in here of various sizes. And anyway.
What? Oh my!
What are you saying, Jeff? What are you saying?
Oh
my
you
God!
made it worse, Jeff. That went downhill real fast.
They're
not dead. They're not dead.
No, that didn't help. Also joining us is Crystal Cleveland, the living dead girl and friend. Who you got with you?
Oh, yeah. See, Oliver, I don't want to move him because he's falling asleep.
He is. Look at him. His eyeballs are...
He's so tired. He's such a tired life of just
I'm looking up at you. You're going to have so many fans just for all.
Yeah. See, that's what... See... Oh, sweet.
Yes.
Oh, man. I can't wait to hear what he thought of the film. All right. Also joining us is Dave Dreher. Dave. Man, it's good to see you again, sir.
The dog isn't real.
No.
Say it. We finally did it. Not a real dog.
It's not a real dog.
It's not a real dog. I want you to know I had to take great measures to get here. I had to push myself out of the wallgina to get here.
Wallgina.
So it was very difficult, but I'm here.
Is there a dead Dave hiding behind you? All right. Yeah. So this is listen, this is going to be one of those films. All right, let's talk about the film a little bit. All right, this is called Dead Dicks. It came out in 2019. It is just now hitting streaming video on demand from Artsploitation Films. It's a Canadian film starting July 28th, 2020. It's written and directed by Chris Bavota and Paula Springer. The cast includes Heston, Horwin, Jillian Harris, and Matt Keys. The synopsis is as follows. Young Becky, a nurse, and I put the young in the wrong place, but hey, let's go with it. Student receives a series of panic messages from her older brother, Richie. She rushes over to check on him. Following a seemingly successful suicide attempt, Richie, who suffers from mental illness, is not only very much alive, but also what appears to be his own dead body. When Becca gets to his apartment, they find several more dead versions of Richie, and together they try to figure out how and why he keeps being reborn each time he takes his own life. Yes, that is Dead. Are you frozen?
Am I frozen?
No, you're there. You are.
Am I here? I was like, am I frozen? I was like, this is weird. Okay, so I'm first then. Okay.
He's just glitching. He's not frozen.
So let's see. Okay, so this movie is actually a little bit of a sad one for me. It's really more about mental illness, and I think its effects on the people around us and those that we love. And that's a really sad tale to me. You know, I mean, I'm sure we've all dealt with some sort of mental illness or someone in our life, you know, who has had to deal with that. And seeing those effects is rather sad. And I think it's done in this form, in this way, to kind of maybe lighten it. But the brother is a very, very sad character. As you know, like they said, they commit suicide, but doesn't actually die. And that has nothing, well, I guess I don't want to give too much away, but he just creates mess after mess. And his sister seems like she's always the one cleaning up after him. And she's tired of it. And she wants her own life. Oh, it's so depressing. Isn't that depressing? It sounds really depressing. The movie is actually funny, though. It's got a lot of funny parts. It has a really hilarious neighbor. And
yes.
yeah, and for me, I liked this movie. I think the story is the big win here, though. I think that the execution was okay, but I actually think that it didn't do as good of a job as it could have. I think that the acting, and I think that the cinema, I think almost everything, the acting, the cinematography, I almost feel like every other aspect was subpar compared to the story.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
The
gonna be
story
interesting.
was the real meat for me, and it was really good. And like I said, I just feel like everything else was okay. It was all okay. It was okay.
Well,
It
I
could
think
have been
that,
better, though.
yeah, I think that as far as the acting goes, each of our leads gets a chance to shine, and during that moment, at the very least, they do a really
They were
tremendous.
okay.
Yeah. But I get
No
where you're
one
coming
was
from.
horrible. Like I said, they were all okay.
Yeah.
I just think that with this story, I think it could have been amazing.
Okay.
Done a little differently.
Interesting. All right, up next is Jeff Mohr. This seems like this might be a Jeff Mohr film, Wallgina included. What did you think, Jeff, of Dead Dicks?
Well, lots of WTFs, and I will see if you can put this together. On one hand, it reminded me a little bit of Night of the Virgin.
Yeah.
And on the other hand, it reminded me a little bit of Butt Boy.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
So,
oh my God.
But it's much more serious. And I agree with Crystal on this overriding theme of mental illness or some sort of psychopathy. The premise of the story I thought was really interesting. And basically, there's only three characters, right? There's the brother and the sister, Richie and Becca, and the downstairs neighbor, Matt. Yeah, the bartender's kind of a couple of scenes, and that's it. You know, I think one scene and a phone call, maybe. There's a few, and it almost all takes place in the apartment. There's a few short scenes on the stairs and in the alley, at the dumpster, and one in the bar. And I think we see Matt in his apartment a couple times, but they're very short shots. They don't last. It's almost all in this apartment. And the apartment is obviously lived in by somebody with some sort of mental illness of some kind. It is artistic and creative, and at the same time chaotic, and just seems seriously demented in ways. And then of course we have mentioned, I know how we can say this, not say it since we already talked about it, that when we see this Wallgina, and then when we see what the Wallgina is used for, it's
even better. Yeah,
it's pretty damn freaky. I also love the scenes when the neighbor Matt barges back in when he's had enough, and the subsequent consequences of him showing up there.
Just even the conflict alone was really well done.
But there's some great scenes between her and her brother, especially towards the end, where they're really getting down to the meat. Up until then, they kind of seem like they're always talking past each other. You know, she's mad at him. He's getting frustrated. But there's a point where they have this conversation where they really get down to brass tacks and really come out. And then there's another scene. I don't want to give too much away, but all through the story, he's trying to figure out what's going on and what the rules are of him coming back from dying. And he keeps trying different ways to kill himself. And he's always taking notes in this book, furiously writing in this book. And that ends up having some, I don't know what you call it, a conclusion as well. So anyway, I enjoyed this a lot. I'm not sure I liked the final scene.
Oh, really?
Oh, I did.
It just didn't. I was left. I don't know what happened. What's going on?
Yes, exactly. Okay, so imagine if this has been like directed by Bagos. Wouldn't that be amazing? Couldn't you see this being one of his movies? I think that, right? Can you? Sorry. Yeah. I was just thinking.
Directed by who?
Bagos. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. You know, like Bliss, like the colors.
Yeah. I got you.
A little bit trippier.
Could have been.
I was all the way up until the closing shot. You know, just the way the fade to black shot. I was sort of expecting it had a good enough story that I expected something a little more. Anyway, but that's just me.
Yeah. It was a choice. All right. Well, we got to find out what Dave Dreher thought. This should be fun. Dave, what was your first impression of Dead Dicks?
Well, it's interesting. I think we all seen the same thing. I mean, this is definitely a darkly humorous look at a very serious subject matter, codependency and suicide and mental illness. But they do it with a sense of humor, which I really enjoyed. I agree with Crystal. This is all about the story for me, and I'm really glad somebody like Begos didn't get this, because it would have just turned into an artsy fartsy. The story would have got lost. It just would have been pretty colors and shit going on, and none of it would have meant anything. This stayed true to the story, and I like that. I liked that it did. I ended up enjoying it much more than I thought I would. I'm not sure I completely understand all of it.
But I don't know if anybody will. Right?
Yeah, especially the ending. I didn't dislike the ending, but I'm not quite sure what we seen. Or...
That's a better way.
It's her freedom. It's her freedom. She's free, even though she didn't. But I was waiting. The only thing I would have been happier with is to see a smile, a little bit of a smile. A little bit of a give.
We really shouldn't talk about the ending all that much.
I don't know that it matters, because it really doesn't make any sense. I'm not sure what we've seen. I think it could have ended with just her entering the realm as opposed to emerging from the realm. You know,
I don't think anyone will have a clue. What we're saying. They're like, what?
Yeah,
what does that mean?
Yeah. I mean, and that's good. But after they watch it, they'll figure it out. But I thought it was good. I also really enjoyed the interaction with the neighbor guy. I thought he brought some interesting conflict and passion to the proceedings.
Yes.
So
that's for sure.
Yeah. But overall, it was an enjoyable watch. It just kind of kept you guessing. You didn't know what was going on. Lots of floppy dick. We had floppy dick in this one. Did you notice that?
Oh my gosh! How did I forget that?
Yeah.
Wow.
Lots of floppy dick.
Just right.
I brought it up.
It was right there. It was right there. Right in your face, if you will.
I forgot about it at that point. I forgot about it at that point. Like I needed that spelled out. I blocked that out of my memory, especially too because it's like siblings, and it's like, dude.
Yeah,
dude.
Cover that. Yes, it was.
For sure.
It was quite something. My initial thoughts on this one. This is another one of those where I'm a little concerned about what we're getting ourselves into. I'm not really sure if this is going to live up to the premise and what we're expecting. I didn't know really what I was expecting. It certainly wasn't entirely what I got. But I was pleasantly surprised. I really enjoyed it. I thought it really was touching on a lot of aspects of the actual narrative of what they're wrapping this sci-fi kind of adventure, this comedy sci-fi horror thing around is, this dysfunctional brother and sister and his what he's going through and then what she's going through. I think they handle both perceptions, both angles with a lot of respect and thought. And I think, Crystal, that might be what you're reacting to, that you're championing with the script. The story had a lot going for it. I liked the cast. I thought our leads really handled these two characters really well. There's a lot that I saw that when they're getting into things like there's some things I didn't understand, and then when it came through, I was like, wow, now that totally makes sense. Like, there's one point where the brother refuses to help with a certain thing, And I kind of like, well, what's going on? Is it just because he's a dick? Or is there something going on? And we learn later there's a reason why he couldn't help her at all. And I like that. I like there's another surprise that follows that reveals what I'm talking about. And I like that as well. It's laid out really well. The opening scene is a little traumatic with what happens to Richie. And
okay, so that's an interesting one because that would practically be impossible to do, just so you know.
Yeah, but
no.
Like in the context of the movie, it's fine. Right.
Yeah, it is. That I had a problem with that, just because I'm like, you can't do that. You'd pass out, and then the thing would, you come back. Yeah. But what it's implying is more important. So nitpicky.
Yeah. Well, no, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. And
yeah, I noticed that too.
You kind of have to give it some leeway, but at the same time, when you get into this, it's like without all the deaths and the vagina and everything else, it still has this core story that works between these two characters, and I really gravitated toward that, and really found myself enjoying what was going on underneath all this weirdness of him coming back and what that meant in the book and the neighbor and everything. So yeah, what can I say? I kind of won me over. It's I doubt if it's going to be like in a top 10 kind of category, but
it's definitely worth a watch.
I think so. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like, I know I seem like I downed it. I'm not downing it. Everyone did fine. They did okay. I think it's just missing. It's missing. It is, to me, whoever wrote the story and especially the screenplay totally knows people, knows how people react, knows how to write dialogue. Like I was like, that is exactly a conversation that would really legitimately happen. So I don't know how much like psychology and stuff that they have studied, but they were very wise in their choices with their dialogue and the writing of it. And I just felt like some of the other things didn't live up to the same caliber.
I agree. There's a couple of effects that were a little rushed, perhaps, or didn't quite have the budget for. I still appreciate what they were going after, though. And Dave,
They made it. That's good.
So Dave, let's talk about that. The effects are minimal.
They're muted. Yeah, they're muted for sure.
But there is one particular death that's rather gruesomely shown. And then, of course, there's the whole wall thing.
Well, the wall thing was real Cronenbergish to me. I mean, it definitely had a Cronenberg vibe going on. And while it was disturbing, it wasn't particularly disgusting.
No.
I mean, it wasn't like really gross to look at. That sounds odd to be saying, but
well, it wasn't naked lunchish.
No, right.
It wasn't naked lunchish,
which is my favorite. See, I'm all for that. That's what I think this deserves.
And again, I don't want to ruin the effect, but I know what the big, if you want to call it a gore effect, but the big the neighbor scene. I thought it was highly effective. It was good. Okay. I don't know how much of that though was the actor, contorting his body and making it look. The makeup effect looked fine, but there really wasn't much to it. It was more the actor acting in the makeup that kind of made the moment for me. Okay. The way he was arching his back and making those guttural screams and stuff. It was disturbing looking. It had almost like a predator-ish feel to it. I know it sounds odd, but that's what it reminded me of in the moment. Cool. But it was good, and it gave you a little horror, because this definitely is probably more of a sci-fi-ish vibe a little bit.
It's
kind of rides the line.
It's body horror for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we have the December, but like all the dismemberment scenes are all pretty much off camera. Yeah. It's just the sounds.
Him being an artist and using what he finds to create his art is perfect.
Yeah, that's true.
What's weird is before I watched this movie, I literally was talking about using blood to paint with.
Yeah.
I was just talking about it, and I was like, Mason, this is blah blah blah, and then I watched that, and I was like, I knew
so
it.
what kind of ads will be popping up on your Facebook account now?
Yeah, really.
Oh, Jeff. I've given up on that stuff. I'm like, my mind.
Jeff, WTF moments. There are plenty. Is this a Jeff Mohr film, or is this too out there even?
No. I like this a lot. It's it's not. This is definitely WTF. I mean, both of these are, and they're so totally different. Well, we're not doing these together. So the last film we reviewed.
Check the link at the end of the show.
Yeah, which was Host, which was more of a kind of a seance kind of thing, but supernatural. This is just this is definitely a WTF, because this is one of those ones where from the very beginning you're going, how is this working, and what I'm literally thinking the same thing that Richie's thinking. He's trying to figure out the rules,
Yeah.
And there's one really key rule that he doesn't reveal until way late. Mm-hmm. That seems like it would have made a big difference to everybody involved. But
would have made all the difference. Yes.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, I love the when we see how he's reborn, when we see what happened to the neighbor, both of those are just incredible. And then when you see what Becca does to get out of the room that she's locked in, those things are just out there. No, not too far out there.
Yeah, I was wondering, like, okay, she's locked in the room. She's got no way out. How's she going to get out? I didn't even think of that. That was perfect. Crystal, we only have a few minutes left, but let's talk about her. Let's talk about Becca a little bit. We've talked about Richie, because he's the obvious. He's the one with the problem, the one that ends up, initiating all this weirdness with the wall and coming back. But it's really Becca's story, isn't it? Don't you think?
Well, yeah, it's. I mean, yes, it is. I think it's. Like I said, I think it's just about people dealing with family and loved ones with mental illness and the difficulties they face. So yes, I think it mainly is about her, because he's kind of just living it. She's experiencing it. If that makes sense.
Not to say that his role isn't crucial and important.
No, well, without him, the movie wouldn't exist. Like you need him, and he's such a sweet and sad character, and they're both sweet and sad. And I think sometimes, this is also showing you that, sometimes it's okay to do things for yourself. I think that's part of this. Like, she's trying to do things for herself, and there's a whole lot of symbolism here for me with this movie. And I think the character arcs were great. I think everything made sense. I think she's more than patient with him, to be honest with you.
Very much.
And then, she tells him the truth and the way that it is, but not too harshly. I mean, at a point, you can't live your life for someone else completely, So, they're all great characers.
They are.
But I don't know, the neighbor.
The neighbor's
my favorite. Even when he's just mad, I was like, yeah, dude, totally. They're so loud. He is so loud.
All right. Well, there you go. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about this movie. My gosh, I don't even know what to call it anymore. Because it really should be called Wallgina. But
obviously, yeah.
So what we're going to do is we're going to wrap it up. We're going to give our final thoughts, our score, and favorite scene. The score is 1 to 5. But before we do, what we like, to invite you here. Subscribe below if you like what you're seeing. Hit the bell to get reminded. Hit the like so people know what you think, or dislike if you're not even like what we're talking about. We also like comments. If you've seen this film, if you have some opinions about the film,
God, I'm thinking about them watching this. They're going to be like, "She is dumb."
No, don't do that. Don't do that. But we do want to hear from you, and we love hearing and reading your comments. So please do so. Thank you. But right now, we're going to give our final thoughts. Crystal, you are up first.
So obviously watch this movie. I think this movie is really good. I just think it could be something phenomenal, I guess. I feel like the writing is just, ooh, I just get it. I just feel it. I really feel this one, and that's probably why I just wanted more. But like I said, absolutely worth a watch. I think everyone will really enjoy it. I'm even giving it a 3.5.
Oh, nice.
So yeah. So it's very, very good. Oh God. There's a few scenes that I really liked, but obviously the rebirth is my favorite. Because I love that stuff and I'm gross like that. So yeah. And you'll know what I'm talking about as soon as you see it. Actually, you'll know what I'm talking about before it even happens. You're waiting for it. You're like, come on.
All right, Jeff, you're up next. What's your final thoughts, your score, favorite scene?
I think this is definitely worth a watch. It's not your run-of-the-mill horror film. It's but there's definitely horrific things that happen. I'm also giving this a 3.5. And my favorite scene, boy, I want to go with some of the WTF ones, but I think I'm going to go with the sort of the conversation between Becca and Richie when he's kind of telling her where he's really at, and she's starting to understand. And in the meantime, she can get it across to him what it's been like for her. So they're really, I don't know. I thought that was just really, really well written and good communication and touching.
I like that too. I think that's actually, there's a couple scenes like that have that monologue type scene. She has one, he has one, and I think they're really good. All right, this is going to be fun. Dave Dreher, what is your final thoughts, your score, and favorite scene?
I'm going to agree. It's a 3.5 for me as well. It's just kind of a really quirky, interesting little tale. I did like it. Again, I'm not 100% sure I know exactly what happened. I don't know what the what the end game was on this one. I'm not sure, where we were at. If they would make a sequel, where would we go? I'm not sure. If we were going to have a Dead Dicks 2.
To the uterus. I guess we're in the uterus now. So.
I guess. I'm not sure. So, but with that being said, it did hold my attention. Favorite scene, I'm going to go with the neighbor scene. I really enjoyed that a lot, and it can really be the whole kind of from the point when when they were talking on the steps, and he's kind of inadvertently becoming an accomplice in what's going on, all the way up to his ultimate end. That whole segment was really, really well done. So yeah, I liked it. I'm just not quite sure what to say about it. But I liked it. I liked it.
Yeah. If they do make a sequel, they'll have to bring in that Bond character, Pussy Galore.
Yeah.
You knew that was happening, right? Yeah. I apologize, but it had to be said. All right. I wasn't expecting to like this one, and Crystal did a group text before I had a chance to turn it on, and it just like what? What? There's one on the wall. What's on the wall? Oh my God!
And then she sent a picture too.
And then, and then she said it. And then she said something else after. I went, what?
Yeah.
So I was like,
yeah, we got an advanced look at the Wall-gina.
I know, and I said, I got to turn this thing on. And
I'm standing at looking at a Wall-gina.
And we're not giving anything away because it's like literally the first thing you see.
It's the first shot. Yeah, it's the first shot film.
Yeah. So I really liked it. Now, what was curious? What really got to me was I like these two characters, and I like the message that's underneath all this, and the different feelings, the perception of one's feeling over the other and what's happening, and his reaction to like what she was afraid to tell him was different than she expected. And there's a lot going on here that motivates these characters, these two leads. And I really got into that and enjoyed those two characters. And I thought they were really well acted by our leads. Heston, Horwin, and Jillian Harris. I really liked her when she started really getting introspective. There's a moment on the couch when she's, kind of spilling her guts, and I liked where that was going. I liked it felt like a tough scene for her to do, and I thought she did a great job. Has a lot of surprises, a lot of things I wasn't expecting to see ever.
Or maybe that
now you can't unsee.
Now I can't unsee. Yes, that is very true. Now here's what's interesting. Crystal and I seem to disagree on this film coming into this, but we're giving it the same score. A 3.5. Matter of fact, we all gave it the same score.
3.5 across the board.
And our opinions aren't necessarily all the same, which I found interesting. So yeah, there you go. That's our review. Oh my gosh, for Dead Dicks.
Yeah, I thought this was going to be about private detectives. I swear I did.
Yeah,
I thought you thought it was going to be a Mohr film, right? Yeah.
I thought it was going to be like, what is it, like Dead Detectives? I was like, maybe it's something like that. Yeah. No.
It's
so
about
the sequel would be More Dead Dicks or Deader Dicks or no,
Deader and Dickier.
Return of the Dead Dicks.
How about Flaccid Franks? You got it. I think we got it.
We're just going to bring Frank in. Frank's the cousin. Cousin Frank.
Oh, hey. There we go. That's actually.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Or could do. Well, no, we're not going to go there. That's public.
Yep.
That's owned by somebody. Yep. Well, with that, Dave, Jeff, Crystal, thank you for joining me.
Thanks for
Thank you as well.
Let's say good night, please.
Good night.
Good night, please.
Gruesome Magazine.